My Hero Academia, Day and Night by Prime Fiction. There are 7.8 billion people on Earth, and 90% of that number just so happen to have superpowers or abilities, or in our case, we call them quirks. Now, it's a pretty common fact that out of that 90% of people with quirks, only about 60% of them go on to use their quirks in their everyday lives. But that number becomes even fewer when in the eyes of the law. Only about 30% of quirk users go on to use their powers for the greater good, for justice. We call those who use their quirks for the greater good heroes, and it is these heroes that protect us from those who wish to use their quirk for chaos and evil. And as a kid, and even now, I wanted to be one of those heroes. But unfortunately for me, I was born quirkless, weak and afraid. Even when I tried to stand up for what was good or for what I believed in, it didn't matter as I was powerless to do anything to retaliate. And yet despite being so weak and powerless, I never let that get to me. I kept my head held high and held on to hope that one day I would be a hero just like those I looked up on. But one day, out of what seemed to be the blue, I had a fateful encounter with the strongest hero of them all Might. So I took this opportunity that was given to me, and I asked him a simple question. Do you think I have what it takes to become a hero just like you? Even without a quirk? I asked as my voice broke from being anxious and worried. You want to be a hero like me? Don't make me laugh. A scrawny, good-for-nothing kid like yourself be like me? Priceless. You wouldn't even be able to become a regular hero, let alone someone as great as myself. So I'll tell you what. Become a comedian. After all, that joke you just told me was pure gold and the funniest thing I heard all day. Now whatever this dream of yours is to be a hero, forget it. Move on. And stop wasting my goddamn time. All Might chuckled to himself as he walked off. It hurt. Hearing his words hurt so much, even if I knew what he said was true, it still hurt. After thinking about what he said and almost falling into despair, I realized something. I didn't need him. I didn't need anyone. If I wanted to become a hero, the only person I could rely on was myself. So that's what I did. I took what All Might said to me and used his words to fuel me. I made it motivate me and pushed me beyond what I was capable of. I trained every day after school, during school, after work. You name it, I trained. But that's when it happened. Some old lady was being mugged in an alleyway and the nearby heroes did nothing. I guess in their eyes it wasn't worth it. So I did what I could and I stepped in to help her, even if it was foolish of me. And as you can most likely guess, it didn't end well for me. I mean, why would it? I was quirkless at the end of the day. Despite all the training I did, it still meant nothing when compared to guns or knives or worst of all someone with a quirk. The heroes only acted after they heard the screams of horror from the old lady. By then it was too late. Not only was I beat to a bloody pulp, but I received extreme head trauma to the point I was unresponsive. And for a while I was in pretty bad shape, but as you can tell by the fact I am talking to you, I survived, but it came at a cost. You see, after I woke up from the coma I was in, I lost my memories. The doctor said it was because of the trauma and head injuries I suffered. Regardless of how it happened, and I lost everything I was. Every hope and dream I had was forgotten. And for a while it was okay. I moved on, started living my life as someone who was quirkless. Hell, I even went to college and got a part-time job, but no matter what I did, I just felt like something was missing. This way of living and feeling went on for almost a year. After all, I had no recollection of who I was, so why did it matter? But that all changed when I got caught in this freak explosion. Despite how much damage the explosion did to the nearby area, I got away with minor cuts and bruises. But I guess I must have hit my head during it because I also got my memories back. But it was more than just that. I felt different. It was like something in me changed. And well, something did change in me. Something I thought was impossible. I ended up getting my own powers, my own quirk. I'm not sure when it happened or even how it happened, but about a week after the explosion, they started manifesting. At first, I was freaked out. I thought maybe I was dreaming or this couldn't be real, but I slowly learned to accept the fact that whatever happened to me happened. For a while, I wasn't sure on what to do. Should I tell someone? Should I hide it? But that's when I recalled what All Might said to me. That's when I decided to take things into my own hands like I'd done before. I trained with my newfound quirk every single day until it became second nature to me. And once I had full control, I decided to take justice into my own hands and become my own hero. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Some people call me Deku, and this is my story. Chapter 1. The Rise of Hades. The wet, desolate streets of the city rested in silence as the starry black sky wept over it. The water in the portholes shimmered by the glow of the bright, yellow street lamps. The small, green trees on the roadside swayed as the strong breeze hit them, while the rumbling of the cars echoed from building to building, alleyway to alleyway, with no sight and end as the cold, crisp air fell on those who dared wander the streets at this late hour. Deku walked to the edge of a roof and knees down ever so slightly to gain a better look at the street below. "It's cold tonight," he said as he breathed out slowly, his breath turning to mist as he spoke. "Let's hope this will be over quickly. I have class tomorrow." Something catches Deku's eye as he looks down at the street below. It seems my informant was right. They hit the place up. Maybe being out this late was a good thing. 3 armed men run out of a bank holding bags of cash. As they book it to a parked car, the security alarm goes off seconds later. 3 guys, huh? Small crew, Deku said as he pulled up his sleeve and looked at a specialized watch that monitors and listens to radio waves. Deku then put some earbuds into his ears, and the watch starts to play on the local police radio. 7 minutes and 36 seconds until the officers arrive, huh? So that means that the heroes won't be far behind. It looks like I need to get to work. Deku throws his hood up and grabs hold of his mask and places it on his face. The mask was a custom-built respirator made from military-grade polymer alloy designed to protect his face from shrapnel. Time to get to work. He suddenly leaps off the roof and falls to the ground. As he does, sparks appear around his body. It's showtime. Deku was jumping and leaping from car to car, chasing after the bank robbers. He then stops as he sees the right vehicle ahead of him. "Come on, guys. You're making this too easy," he said as if he was playing with them. Deku leaps off the car and lands on the bank robber's car roughly with a loud bang that alerted the people in the vehicle. "Shit. Not my softest landing," he groaned. The car Deku was on started to sway left and right violently as the driver was trying to shake Deku off. While holding onto the car, he hears the back and the passenger side window smash open. A few seconds later, a gunman leans out of the passenger's window. "Well, hello there. Are you here to Deku quickly drops down onto the car's roof as the gunman opens fire on him. He quickly maneuvers his legs and restrains the gunman's arm. He looks back to see the second gunman leaning out of the back seat window, aiming his firearm at him. "Ah, shit. This is not good," he shouted in a panic. Deku grabs the second gunman on the arm and forces him to shoot into the air while continuing to use his legs to restrain the first gunman. "Too close," he shouts as he looks at the first gunman. He then loses his grip and kicks the gun away from the man. He then flips back and rolls towards the second gunman. Deku proceeded to roll off the car but grabbed hold of the vehicle as he dangled himself above the road. He then grabs the second gunman, slamming his arm onto the vehicle's roof, forcing him to release his firearm. Seconds later, he grabs the gunman by the collar as sparks fly from his body. "Sorry, but this is gonna hurt you more than me," he says as he forcefully throws the gunman out of the car, causing him to hit a parked car. "Ouch, that's going to leave a mar." Deku quickly moves his head back, avoiding a bullet as it flies through the car roof. He then starts to avoid more as bullets fly through the roof. "You know, guns seriously piss me off," he says while he avoids the bullets. He then slides to the edge of the roof, and he then dangles by the passenger's door. "Hey, welcome to chill." Deku tenses up as a gun was in his face. "Wait, didn't I already get rid of your weapon?" The gunman pulled the trigger, but it was empty. "You just tried to shoot me," he said as he pointed at the gunman. "He tried to shoot me!" He grabbed the car door and ripped it off the hinges. He then grabs the gunman and throws him out of the car. He watches as a gunman hits the lamppost and bounces. Ouch! He's gonna have one hell of a headache when he wakes up. So his voice turns dark as he looks at the driver. "Pull over or you're next." The driver pulled out a sidearm and aimed it at Deku without a second notice. He rolled over onto the roof and sighed heavily. Why do they never come quietly? He slowly stood up and sighed again. "I'm going to regret this," he said, with his voice filled with worry. Deku then dives off the front of the vehicle and lands directly into the oncoming path of it. He then notices the vehicle speed up. I hope your vehicle got insurance. Deku sees the car speeding towards him with no hint of stopping, and he sighs with disappointment. Did try to warn you. Sparks fly off his body as you raise his fist into the air. As the car came closer to him, he suddenly slammed his fist onto the bonnet, causing a mass electric force to hit the vehicle, causing it to come to a stop abruptly. Deku looked at the car's driver, who was now knocked out from the force of hitting the steering wheel abruptly. Maybe next time you bring a vehicle with airbags. He chuckles to himself, but it soon stops as he hears sirens approaching him. Guess that's my cue to leave. He turns and leaps off the ground and heads to the nearby rooftop. As he lands on the nearby rooftop, he turns to look back at the damaged vehicle sitting in the middle of the road. Second later, 3 police cars surround the vehicle. He then looks down at his watch and scoffs to himself. I gotta give it to the boys in blue. They got their response times on point, and yet, not a single hero in sight. Deku sighs with disappointment. Then again, speaking of heroes, I best get out of here before they show up. So let's put as much distance between me and here as I can before heading home, he said to himself as he turns and leaves the area. 12 hours later. Deku yawns as he walks through the busy streets, still feeling tired from his nightly activities. Huh? It's pretty busy around town considering the whole incident last night. He stops as something catches his eye. He then looks into a store window that shows TVs as the news plays. As you saw around 11:30 p.m. late last night, 3 armed and dangerous suspects robbed the first-class bank only to be stopped by this so-called Vigilante. Out of the 3 suspects, 2 was arrested with minor injuries while the other one of them gained serious injuries but is expected to make a full recovery. Now to hear a few words from the police chief Kenji Tsuragamae. Kenji coughs into a mic to get everyone's attention. He then spoke sternly. First off, I would like to thank you all for attending today, but for now on to more serious matters. As you're all aware, the latest incident with the Vigilante has caused damage to the local and public areas and has put people in the hospital. We will not stand for this any... He was cut off abruptly. Forgive my rudeness, Mr. Kenji, but I must ask you this. Just now you stated this Vigilante had put people in the hospital. But weren't they criminals? And if reports are correct, aren't they expected to make a full recovery? The reporter questioned while holding a recorder towards Kenji. Please keep the questions until later, but I will answer this one as it's already been asked. He let out a sigh. Yes, they were the criminals that robbed the first-class bank, and yes, it is believed they will make a full recovery. But this does not excuse the Vigilante's behavior. Not only has he caused public damage, but he has put multiple people's lives in danger with his unprofessional attitude and the way he deals with these criminals. It's only a matter of time before he kills someone. That's why today I'm here to announce we have put together a specialist squad to hunt down and arrest this Vigilante. One cannot serve justice outside of the law. So with that being said, if you're listening or watching this, we are coming for you, and we will do justice. Deku scoffs at the TV. Serve justice? Don't make me laugh. I admit the cops are better than the heroes, but still, sometimes the law needs to be broken to serve justice. His thought was cut off as he suddenly felt someone walks into him. Hey, watch eye. Before he could finish, he got interrupted. Watch where you go. Wait, Deku, Bakugo said in complete surprise as he noticed Deku standing there. Deku's face filled with irritation. Oh, it's you, Kachan. You're the last person I expected to see in this part of the city. His voice was filled with irritation as the thought of even talking to the person in front of him pissed him off. I could say the same thing for you. His voice sounded unsure of how to react. Izuku. I'm sorry about what happened to you, Moth. He was interrupted before he could finish speaking. Hey, Bakugo, you coming? We don't have all day, you know? Kirishima was standing with a few other people as he looked toward Deku and Bakugo. I know. Just give me a moment. Bakugo sighed as he looked back at Deku. I'm sorry about the... Before he could finish talking, he was interrupted by Deku. Look, Kachan, we ain't friends, so stop acting as if you care. In fact, we haven't been friends ever since you got your quirk, or did you not recall the countless hours you bullied and tormented me at school? He was angry at the fact his childhood bully was acting so friendly towards him. Oh, I see. You're just hiding your true nature from your friends and classmates, he said as he looked toward the group of people. Something snaps in Bakugo as he grabs Deku by the shirt and forces him to look at him. Listen here. I'm trying my best to be nice and play along considering the hardship you've been through recently. Deku laughs as he looks at Bakugo. This is you being nice, huh? I'm just calling you out on your bullshit. We both know you're incapable of being nice. Or do you not recall? He looks Bakugo directly in the eyes with a cold and emotionless expression. You were the one who told me to jump off a roof and hope I get lucky with a quirk in my next life. He knocked Bakugo's hand off his shirt. Now tell me, does that sound very hero-like to you? Kirishima walks over and looks at both of them. Bakugo, is everything all right? He asked as he looked at Deku. And who is this guy? He questioned as he could feel the tension between the two. He's a nobody, so don't worry about it. Bakugo's voice was filled with anger as he stormed off from them. Kirishima sighed as he watched Bakugo walk off. I'm sorry about him. He's a good guy deep down, but he can come across as somewhat mean. He apologized as he rubbed his head. Deku lets out a small chuckle. Could have fooled me, but don't worry about it. I have known Kachan ever since we were little, so I know exactly how he can be. Oh, so you two do know each other. I guess that makes his actions a little more understandable. But still, I'm sorry, Kirishima said as he bowed his head to Deku. Come on, Kirishima! We don't have all day! Bakugo shouted as he was still annoyed at the whole situation. Right, I'm coming! Kirishima shouted as he looked back at Bakugo and the others. He then turned and faced Deku. Here, take these as a way for us to apologize. He hands Deku some tickets. Deku took the tickets and looked at them. Tickets to the Christmas festival. Oh yeah, I forgot that was today. As he looked up, Kirishima was already gone and he sighed. I have no reason to go to this shitty festival. He lets out a heavy sigh as he puts the tickets in his pocket. Deku grabs his earphone and puts them in his ears. He then raises his sleeve to expose the watch hidden underneath. He then picks a song that plays through the earphones. He then starts to walk through the busy streets, but everywhere he looks, there are posters and flyers for the Christmas festival. All these posters make me sick. He takes one of them off the wall, and it is a poster of All Might. They call this man an idol, the symbol of peace. But in reality, he crushes the poster under his hand. He's only in it for the fame. Deku suddenly gets a phone call. He looked at his watch to see the name Unknown on display. After realizing who was calling, he looked around and walked into an empty alleyway before answering. This better be good. I'm out in public, he said somewhat seriously. I know you are. I've been watching from the cameras, and trust me, it is. We both know how much of a thrill junkie you can be, so I have some information for you. And trust me, this one is unlike all the others. The voice was distorted as it spoke. You couldn't even tell if it was a man or woman, child or adult on the other end. Color me interested. But what makes this information worthwhile? I've already put two people behind bars and one in hospital. I normally keep a low profile after a successful hunt. You know that? He said as he leaned against the alleyway wall. I do, but this information was too good to pass up. You know that Christmas festival? Well, a small-time group of villains plan to cause a scene at it. Nothing too big, of course. The voices spoke. Deku couldn't help but laugh at what he had just heard. Are they crazy? The place will be jam-packed with heroes. Even if they attempted something, it wouldn't go far, he said as he laughed. The voice laughed with Deku. That's the thing. This attack is fake. This group of villains just plans to cause some form of distraction. The real target is an armed truck that's transporting a priceless gem a few blocks down from the stadium. Deku sighed as he stopped himself from laughing. That sounds more reasonable, he said, somewhat unsurprised, but he then thought for a moment. Lots of people are going to be at the stadium, so do me a favor and send an anonymous warning to the authorities and monitor this group. If anything changes, let me know. Copy that. So what are you going to do now? Do you need me to send you the route for the armed truck? The voice chuckled to themselves. Deku opened his hand to reveal a crushed flyer for the Christmas festival. Nah, I'm keeping a low profile, but I might check out this distraction. I could use a laugh after the day I've been having. That bad, huh? But I suppose it is your choice. I'll keep an eye on this group. If anything changes or if I find anything out, you'll be the first to know. The voice spoke as sounds of a keyboard could be heard over the call. Thank you. Keep me up to date, he said before pressing the end call button on his watch. He then walked out of the alleyway and headed toward the stadium. Looks like I'm going to this stupid festival after all, Deku said while sighing to himself. Can this day get any worse? Meanwhile, in an unknown location, Sir Axel, the trucks are loaded to capacity just like you asked. A man in a plain white mask saluted as he spoke to a man who towered over him and had a menacing aura. His hair was white as snow with a scar above his right eye. Axel smiled as he looked at the goon. Excellent, the heroes. No, the world will soon know about us, the fear our group brings and the true meaning of terror. He laughed sinisterly. The goon started to laugh nervously. Are we sure this plan will work, sir? I mean, it's the Christmas festival. Heroes are going to be everywhere. The goon was nervous, and it was showing. Axel's laugh quickly died down as he looks at the goon with an intense stare. You dare lack faith in the plan? Faith in me? Without a second hesitation, Axel grabbed the goon by the head with one hand and slowly raised him into the air. And no, sir! The goon cried out in pain as he was feeling his head slowly being crushed. We are all worried. We have never done anything like this until now, he cried out as the pain grew. Those who have no faith in the plan do not get to see the greatness that will become of us. Axel grip tightens around the goon's head. Those who show fear against those who call themselves heroes deserve nothing but death. No, please, sir, I beg you for forgive. The goon suddenly screams out in pain, quickly followed by a popping sound before silence fell. Axel throws the body of the goon to the side, like it was nothing but a piece of trash. He then wipes the blood into his shirt. I do not forgive those who lack faith in me, or follows the idol that declare itself to be the symbol of peace. He slowly turns and faces the rest of his goons. Do not fear. The heroes would never take this threat seriously. They believe our group is nothing more than a group of petty thugs, but they are wrong. We have been growing in numbers for years, and now it's time for the world to know the true terror that is Hades. So trust in me, and trust in the greater plan. Axel shouted so all the goons could hear him. Now go! Set the stage for the new world! Set the stage for chaos! Meanwhile, Deku was waiting in line to enter the busy stadium. He lets out a heavy sigh as he is surrounded by loud and obnoxious people waiting to enter the stadium. So much for going to class today, he said while looking around. And I hate crowds like this. They are so obnoxiously loud. He let out a sigh as he gets shoved by one of the people waiting in line. Deku's watch suddenly starts to ring. He then lifts his sleeve to expose the watch with the ID unknown displayed. He then sighs again as he answers it. Hey, Grandma. I'm in a busy place, so can you make it quick? Grandma, huh? Does that mean I have to start making cookies for you? The distorted voice laughed as he replied to Deku. Deku's face fills with visible frustration. What's that, Grandma? Do you not want to take your medication? Does that mean I'm going to have to pay you a visit and force you? He said in a semi-aggressive tone. Come on, I was only playing along. You could hear the worry in the voice even though it was distorted. But on to more serious matters. I looked into the group. It used to be a small group called Hades, But now, it's not so small. So how big are the cookies exactly, Grandma? Deku asked as he looked around the crowd to see if he could spot anything out of place. Last year, the group was that of 267. A pretty small group. Enough to cause some problems, but nothing too big, the voice replied to Deku's question. Deku sighed. There's nothing wrong with that, Grandma. That's something that can be dealt with easily. So what is the problem? He questioned. If you heard what I said, this was last year. As of now, they stand closer to 6,000, the voice said as clicking of a keyboard echoed on the call. 6, huh? Now that does sound problematic. Tell me, why do 6 cookies need sprinkles? He sounded more worried, but the line to enter the stadium grew shorter and shorter. By 6, I guess you mean the group. And by sprinkles, you mean the gem being transported, right? If so, that's the thing that's worrying me. The gem is only worth a couple thousand. For a large group like this, the gem might as well be worthless, the voice said, unsure about everything happening. I wouldn't worry too much, Grandma. I'm sure if you go back to the cookbook, you'll be able to find a new recipe, Deku said as he approached the gate with one of the heroes standing by and taking tickets. He then goes into his pocket and takes out a ticket. Trust me, I'm already on it. As we speak, I'm hacking into their server to see what they are hiding. But still, whoever made the server is outstandingly good. Almost as good as me. The voice spoke as it could be heard typing away. Deku showed the hero his ticket, but then pointed to his ear to symbolize that he was talking on the phone. I'm sure that won't be a problem for you, Grandma. After all, you are the best cook I know. Oh, of course it's me after all. I will let you go and inform you if I find anything. Until then, keep an eye out and be careful, the voice said before ending the call. Love you too, Grandma, Deku said as he took one of his earbuds out. I'm sorry about that. You know how grandmas can be, he said with a soft smile. The hero laughed slightly as he looks at Deku. Of course, but you know you have a VIP ticket, right? He said as he handed the ticket back. Deku looked a little surprised as he took the tickets back. Oh, I do. A friend gave it to me. He's part of the hero program, he said, sounding confused. Ah, that makes sense. The VIP line is just down there, but considering you have already waited in line, I will let you through. Just head straight down to the VIP area and show the tickets there. You will be allowed straight in, the hero said, as he unhooked the bar that was stopping people entering. Deku bows his head. Thank you and sorry for the inconvenience, he said as he walked into the stadium. Don't mention it. Stay safe and enjoy the show. The hero gave a warm smile as he returned to work. If I recall, he said the VIP area was just down here, Deku said as he looked to the north wing. He then started heading for it, but as he walked through the crowds of people, he kept an eye out for anything suspicious. Deku suddenly stops as he sees someone dressed in casual clothes, but they are acting strange as if they was hiding something. Is this one of the guys my informant was talking about? He thought to himself as he watches the stranger closely. A few moments passed, and another man approached the man in casual clothes. Deku noticed them both start to walk off somewhere. How strange, he said quietly to himself as he began to tail them. Now, if I was smart, I would have informed a nearby hero about the strange behavior and continued on my merry way. But where is the fun in that? He thought to himself while keeping a distance between himself and the two strangers. After a few moments of tailing, the two men come to a quiet and empty car park. The man in casual clothes looked around to ensure they weren't being followed, but was unaware of Deku's presence. Deku was watching the two men from around the corner as this was happening. I'm telling you, you're not getting a better deal elsewhere, the causal man said as he pulled VIP tickets from his pocket. 150 each, the man said with a smirk. Deku sighed as he watched the men. Seriously, they are just selling tickets, he said while rubbing his head. What a waste of time. Something comes over Deku, and he quickly hides behind a car. Seconds after hiding, a hero and another set of footsteps walks around the corner and calls out to the two men. In a panic, the two men take off in a sprint. The hero then sighed. Why must they always run? You head back and inform the staff that it's nothing serious. Oh, and good work in letting us know.
Yes, sir.
Some unseen person said as the hero ran off. Deku was still hiding behind the car, and he couldn't figure out who was speaking apart from the fact they was female. Deku let out a faint sigh and started to think. I'm just going to have to wait until they move before I come out from hiding. Don't want to make myself look His thinking was interrupted.
You know I can hear you, right? So just come out. I know you ain't with the guys who just ran off, or you would have alerted them.
A calm female voice spoke. Deku looked surprised. A mind reader? He said to himself as he slowly stood up. No, he thinks as he comes out from hiding. Standing in front of Deku was a petite, fair-skinned girl with a slender build. Her hair is short, around chin length, and is dark purple in color. Her most prominent features are the flexible, plug-like earphone jacks hanging from each of her earlobes at the end of two thin cords which act like extra limbs. Deku lets out a sigh as he raises his hand. Hey, you're right, by the way. I wasn't with them, but I did follow. They seemed suspicious, but I didn't want to judge, he said calmly. Jiro nodded at Deku.
I know. As I said, you could have warned them considering you noticed us coming before we even arrived. But one thing I don't know, and that is, who are you?
She said as she crossed her arms looking at Deku. The name is Izuku Midoriya, but people just call me Deku. I was heading for the VIP area when I saw the suspicious behavior of that man, so I decided to follow. I know it's stupid, but I just wanted to make sure they weren't placing anyone in danger, he replied calmly to her question.
Well, Midoriya, I understand your worry, but I don't understand why you didn't report it to a hero. If anything, this just makes you look more suspicious, and the VIP area is reserved for friends and families of the people participating in the Christmas festival or those in the hero program,
she said while looking at Deku with suspicion.
And besides, I'm part of the hero program and have never seen you before.
Deku looks at Jiro. She's good, even though she knows I'm not with those guys. She still suspects me. I can't exactly tell her why I'm here. Or can I? He thought to himself. He then lets out a sigh. Well, I wasn't planning on coming here, but I had a run-in with someone I used to know, a childhood friend. Jiro looked at Deku, a little surprised.
A childhood friend? Who?
She questioned while looking at him. Deku's face filled with anxiety as he spoke. Katsuki Bakugo. I wouldn't say we are friends anymore, but we did grow up together. But he changed after getting his quirk. Earlier today, I ran into Kachan, and Kachan being Kachan, he wasn't exactly polite. So I think his friend apologized on his behalf and gave me tickets, he said, pausing for a moment. I think his name was Kirish something, he said, but was unsure. Jiro was surprised by his story.
You mean Kirishima? Him and Bakugo are in my class. Kirishima is all right, but Bakugo, he's kind of mean at times. I'm surprised he even had a childhood friend.
Deku laughs a little. There was a few others, but that was a long time ago. Today was the first time since I saw Kachan in a long time. If you ask me, it could have been longer.
Sounds like you two got history. But anyway, Midoriya, right? Follow me. I'm heading back to the VIP area myself. Why don't we walk together?
Jiro suggested while looking at Deku. Sure, and sorry if I caused trouble. He laughs a little as they both start walking. By the way, I'm curious. How did you hear me? He said as he looked at her in the corner of his eye. Jiro moves her earphone jacks.
With these, it's part of my quirk. If I plug my earphones into the ground or the wall or anything really, I can hear everything around me and sometime the area. And besides, with this quirk, I can hear things better than the average person,
she said with a soft smile. The quirk seems pretty handy, but doesn't seem like the fighting type quirk. Or am I wrong? Deku asked as he looked at her. Jiro looked at Deku and smiled.
I have my ways to fight, so don't be fooled. Plus, I have support items that help me if it comes down to it.
Deku comes to a stop as his watch starts to ring. He rolls his sleeve up to see the ID is unknown. It doesn't surprise me. After all, you said you're part of the Hero program, and I got told that's hard to get in. He looked at the watch. Now isn't the best time, but what if it's important? He thinks to himself. Jiro stops as she notices Deku suddenly coming to a stop.
Is everything all right?
She asked while looking toward Deku. Yeah, everything is fine. I just need to take this if you don't mind, Deku said as he put his earphone into his ear. Sorry about this, but it'd be over quickly. I can't risk you hearing, he thinks to himself as he wiggles his fingers a little. As he does, he messes with the electricity in the air around Jiro's ears. Jiro suddenly gets a very irritating buzzing noise in her ear.
Oh, what the hell?
She said while rubbing her ears to try and get rid of the noise. Deku quickly answered the phone. Hey, Grandma, this isn't a goo. He was quickly interrupted. Deku, I was wrong. I got it wrong. At first, I thought the attack at the stadium was a fake, just some sort of decoy. But I was wrong. The attack is real. 6 bombs have been placed around the stadium. They are set to go off at different times to cause as much panic and chaos as possible. But that's not all. There is one large bomb somewhere in the stadium. It's big enough to bring the whole place down and more. The voice sounded panicked as they shouted at Deku. Shit! Deku shouted as he hung up the call. He then walks to Jiro and grabs her by the shoulder. Jiro jumped as Deku grabbed hold of her.
Hey, get off me. What are you—
She was cut off. Shut up and listen to me. Right now there are bombs in the stadium, Deku said, but then got an idea on how to make her believe him. You can sense something is wrong, right? He sounded panicked. Jiro's face turns white as her ears are still ringing.
Wait, what, a bomb, huh? You can't be certain—
A loud explosion can be heard in the distance, followed by the ground shaking. Deku looked towards the explosion on the other side of the stadium. Seconds later, the people around started to panic as chaos breaks loose among the crowd. This is bad. What the hell is going on? Jiro looked towards the explosion in shock.
All those people. Oh, God.
She was shaking with fear as she spoke. Deku looked around and noticed the heroes had already started moving towards the origin of the explosion. They seem utterly unaware of the other bombs that have yet to be detonated. This is bad. They are only paying attention to the area that has already been detonated. He growled with frustration, but then looks at Jiro. Jiro, you said if you plug your earphone jacks into the ground or wall, and when you do, you can hear a lot more than normal. Just how much more? Jiro was panicked as this was the first time she was in an event like this.
Wait, what? Why? That is not important. We need to evacuate—
She gets interrupted. Deku takes a deep breath and then looks at her calmly. Calm down. I know you are scared, but so is everyone else. It's your job as a hero to help these people. So get your act together, or more people will die. There might be more bombs. We need to find out, and you are the best bet. So tell me, how much more can you hear? Jiro looked at Deku in horror as he mentioned more bombs, but also realized he was right. She then nodded at him.
Are you sure there are more bombs? How would you know? And as of right now, I can probably hear the whole stadium, but with all the panic and chaos, it'd be hard to locate anything.
She was worried and scared, but was trying her best to keep it together. Deku looked around and sighed. My quirk. That's how I can tell. I guess I can feel and control electricity and electromagnetic fields in the air. And just before the bomb went off, things felt different. You noticed it as well, didn't you? He said as he looked at her. Jiro nodded in agreement with him.
Yeah, I got a strange buzzing sound in my ears. It was pretty loud, and it kind of disorientated me,
She said as she looked at the ground.
Why is this happening? It was supposed to be a fun day.
As stupid as it sounds, I got lucky. Messing with the electromagnetic field around her ears helped. Wish it didn't, but still, Deku thought, but then looked at Jiro with a soft yet serious look. I don't know why this is happening, but we need to stop this, before more people get hurt. Jiro nodded in agreement, then takes a deep breath.
You're right,
She said. Seconds later, she pierces the ground with her earphone jacks. But the moment she does, she hears all the screams and chaos that was going on around them.
It hurts. It's so loud.
Deku kneels by her. I know it hurts, but bear with it. He looks around. There must be some way I can help her. He thinks to himself. A second explosion goes off in the distance, but as it does, it seems stronger than the last. It causes the whole foundation of the stadium to shake and crack. Jiro's face fills with pain as she searches for the locations of the bombs, but due to all the panic and chaos, she can't focus enough to find anything.
I can't find anything. There is just too much going on. This is hopeless.
She sounded panicked and worried as she was slowly starting to lose hope. Deku starts to get impatient. There must be a way for her to locate the boo. Wait, that's it, he thought to himself as he looked at Jiro suddenly. Jiro, listen to me. The bombs must be going off in a rhythm, ticking or beeping, also compared to everything else that's going on. They're most likely going to be quieter, so you're looking for a quiet beep or tick that is in a rhythm. Jiro closes her eyes as she listens out for what Deku explained.
A quiet beep or tick in this? It's impossible. Everything is too loud.
Deku gets annoyed as he slowly stands. This is what I hate about heroes. They are all, we will save the day. But when it comes down to it, they freeze just like her. He thought to himself. Deku! An aggressive voice shouted toward him. Deku looked towards the voice to see Bakugo and Kirishima rushing towards them. Oh, great. He sounded annoyed as he realized who it was. Bakugo grabs Deku by the shirt as he growls. What do you mean by that? You should be thankful I'm here. In fact, why are you even here? Jiro looked at Bakugo and Deku with a worried expression.
I don't know what type of history you two have, but now isn't the time.
Kirishima grabs hold of Bakugo's shoulder. Jiro is right. We need to evacuate people. Bakugo growled at Deku, but lets him go. Someone who quirkless as you should leave now. Leave this to the heroes. Jiro looked at Bakugo, confused.
Quirkless? What are you talking about? He's no... Hey, watch out.
Jiro shouted as part of the ceiling collapsed and headed towards them. Kirishima hardens his body and punches through the falling rock. As he does, he looks back at the others. You guys all right? Bakugo pointed his hand towards some of the falling debris. Just worry about yourself, stupid. He lets out an explosion that turns the debris into dust. Jiro shouted towards Bakugo.
Are you stupid? The ground isn't safe as it is, and you're causing more
Her eyes widened in fear as she saw a large part of the ceiling break off and fall towards her. Bakugo aims his hands at the large part of the ceiling as it falls towards them. Damn it! Just die, Oliver! He gets cut off. Deku lets out a sigh as he stands and faces the falling ceiling. As he does, electric sparks fly from his body. Kachan, are you stupid? It's your explosion that causes it to fall in the first place. He points his hand at the ceiling and opens his fingers. As he does, the ceiling cracks and spits into pieces. He then swipes his hand to the right. As he does, electricity disintegrates the ceiling. Jiro looked up at Deku, shocked as small rocks hit the ground.
Oh, whoa. So that's your quirk.
Deku looked back at Jiro and smiled. Kind of. There is more to the quirk than that. He goes quiet as he gets grabbed by Bakugo. Bakugo growls and shouts at Deku. Well, what are you playing at? What bullshit is this? Don't tell me all this time you lied to me. You were quirkless. Explain yourself, damn it. If you don't, I'll kill Yo. In one swift motion, he was on the ground looking up at the now broken ceiling. Deku was still holding Bakugo's arm as he flipped him. I'm not your punching bag anymore, Bakugo. Try that again, and I'll kill you. He sounded cold and almost evil as he leaves go of Bakugo's arm. Jiro, have you located any of the other bombs? He asked. Jiro was a little shocked by what she saw, but nodded.
I found two, one down the hall and one to the northwest near the west entrance. There is also something strange in the middle of the stadium.
Deku looked towards the stadium's center. What do you mean? Something strange? Can you describe it? He asked as he looked back at Jiro. Jiro closed her eyes and tried to focus on the item she was picking up on.
It's large. It looks like the bombs I can see, but twice the size. It's also making a very faint sound. I can't work it out, though.
According to my informant, there are 6 bombs, and one large one. The large one must be in the middle. Deku thought to himself. Right. I can sense 4 bombs in total, not including the ones that have gone off. Jiro, Take the others and inform the heroes, he said as he started to walk away. Jiro stands up and looks at Deku with concern.
What about you? What are you going to do?
Don't worry about me. I will be fine. I'm going to help the people evacuate, Deku said as he looked back, but Bakugo caught his eye. Bakugo growled as he looked at Deku. When this is over, we're having a long talk. You hear me, nerd? Yeah. Whatever you say, Kachan, Deku said as he walked off. Kirishima looked at the others. We should all split up. Jiro, you head for the heroes to the south. I will head east. Bakugo, you GE. He gets cut off. Whatever, Bakugo shouted as he stormed off on his own. Kirishima laughed nervously. I don't think I have ever seen Bakugo in such a bad mood. Jiro looked worried.
Hopefully he can keep his cool, but it's strange. That guy, Midoriya, or Deku as Bakugo called him, he's remained calm this whole time. Just who is he?
I would like to know that myself. Maybe once Bakugo has cooled down we can ask him, but until then we should go and help the others, Kirishima said with a serious but worried tone.
You're right. I just hope nothing else will happen. I'm not sure how much more this stadium can take.
Jiro said just before her and Kirishima leaves to help the others. A few minutes pass and Deku finds himself heading down a tunnel. I know I said I was going to help evacuate, but if no one stops this bomb, there'd be no point, he said as he continued to walk. Deku walked to a room with only a large, plain-looking rectangle box in it. Well, if that doesn't scream bomb, I don't know what does, he said, as he put his earphone in and pressed his watch to send out a call. Good, you're alive. That means the bombs haven't killed you, the distorted voice said. I was watching you on the cameras before the feed died. Where are you now? They sounded worried. Of course I'm alive, it's me. But I am looking right at a bomb, so I'm not sure how much longer that will be the case. And I'm in the stadium center, well under it. Can you pull up the blueprints? Deku said as he slowly walked toward the bomb. Typing can be heard over the phone, but it then stops. Weird. There is no underground in the center of the stadium. Whoever planned the bomb must have created the room itself. Be careful and stay alert, the voice said. Deku laughed as he kneeled by the bomb. I'm always careful. I don't sense anyone nearby, so whoever planned it must have wanted to be long gone. I don't blame them. This bomb could level the whole stadium in a few blocks. Sounds nasty. Too bad I can't see what you're working with, but I'm sure a thrill junkie like yourself would be able to deal with this, the voice said as it tried to make light of the situation. Stadium and a few blocks. I'm a thrill junkie, not a death seeker. Anyway, can you hack into the Heroes Network and let me know the progress they are at with defusing the other bombs? Deku asked as he looked the bomb over carefully. The voice laughed. Already done, and according to this, they're just about to finish defusing the fourth one, they said with a sigh. Not to put pressure on you, but it's all on you. Yeah, thanks. That doesn't help. But it's weird. The bomb is active, but not live. Maybe they forgot to turn it on? Deku laughed, but his laugh quickly fades as the bomb goes live and starts counting down. Hey, Deku, got some good news you want to be... The voice gets interrupted. Oh. Let me guess. They just deactivated the last bomb, right? Deku laughed nervously as he watches the bomb slowly count down. Huh? Are you a mind reader now? Yeah, how did you know? The voice asked curiously. Oh, you know. The bomb in front of me just activated and now it's counting down. I have 5 minutes to disarm a bomb, and I don't know how to do that. Deku's voice filled with panic. Huh? You're telling me you went to a bomb and don't know how to disarm it? The voice shouted. Are you stupid or something? The voice asked. Well, forgive me. I was hoping there would be an off switch or something, Deku shouted as he looked over the bomb. Just look through the files and see if you can find a way to knock this bomb off, he demanded. Who puts an off switch on a bomb? The voice sighed as quick typing could be heard. 3 minutes left. Please tell me you have something, Deku said as his voice sounded uneasy. I'm looking. Just try and think of a backup plan, the voice sounded as they shouted. Backup plan? I can't leave because I will get blown up and I have no idea how to defuse this thing. Deku sighs as he looks at the bomb. I need to calm down. There are 2 minutes left. Think Deku. What can I do? He thinks to himself. I found it! The voice shouted with excitement, but it then went quiet. I found it! The voice shouted with excitement, but it then went quiet. Well, please, by all means, don't keep me waiting! Deku was impatient as he shouted, but didn't get a response. This isn't funny. There is 1 minute left. Deku, there is no way to disarm it, at least not within a minute. The voice was worried but also sad. Deku, I'm so... He gets interrupted. If you think I'm giving up, you're wrong. He sounded pissed. I just need to think. It's a machine. Wait, what if I could short-circuit it? Would that shut it off? He asked. It's possible, but there is also the chance it could trigger the explosion. But Deku, I'm looking at this bomb's specs. It would require a vast continuous stream of electricity to short-circuit it. I know you are capable, but the toll on your body will be great. The voice confronted Deku. Deku hesitates to place his hands on the bomb and sighs. Depend on what happens. I'm dead regardless. At least this way, there is a chance I can live. Sparks slowly start to fly from his hand. Good luck. I will alert the heroes to your current location. At least that way, if you survive and save everyone, medical aid will be available. So try not to die on me, the voice said before hanging up. 30 seconds until the bomb goes off. Deku sighed as he takes a deep breath. All my equipment is going to be cooked as well, and I really like this watch. Oh well, I can always replace it. He takes a deep breath in again. 10 million volts, he shouted, but as he did, his whole body erupted in continuous stream of electricity. Deku screams in pain as he focuses on the bomb, sending 10 million volts into it continuously. As he does, the nerves in his hands slowly start to get damaged by his own electricity. After a few more seconds, reaches his limit and stops. Smoke rises from his now burnt hands and arms as he looks at the bomb's timer with a pained expression. The time had 3 seconds remaining but was no longer active as he short-circuited it. He then falls back onto the ground and laughs. I did it. I really did it. As Deku continued to laugh, the door flew open and the heroes rushed into the room. About time you got here. I dealt with the bomb, but I would have someone check it just in case. It could become active again. And no one wants that, he said as he slowly got up, but his whole body was in pain and his arms felt like they was on fire. A hero approaches Deku and shouts back to the others, Send a medic in here now! His arms are badly burnt! He then looks back at Deku. You did a good thing, kid. You should be proud, he says with a smile. Proud, huh? I did what had to be done. Plus, if I didn't, we would all be dead. He noticed as a medic brought a stretcher into the room. I'm fine, I can walk. So don't worry. He gets interrupted as his vision gets blurred. Shit. Must have taken more of a toll on my body than I first thought. Just lay down, let us do our job. You did well, but now rest, the medic said as he helped Deku onto the stretcher. Rest? Maybe that's not such a bad idea, Deku said slowly as he slowly passed out from his injuries. Meanwhile, broadcasting over the world, our name is Hades, and we claim responsibility for the events at the Christmas festival. At first, you looked down on us. You thought we were nothing but common thugs and thieves. That was your first mistake. But now we have your attention. You might have stalled the chaos for now, but chaos will soon rise. Your false idols will fall and the world shall be reborn, and no one shall stop us. To be continued in the next episode of Day and Night.